You know, why is it that whenever you're about to start a video, it starts to rain? Alright, so it's raining. I was going to show you kind of like our backyard homestead attempts, and but you'll just have to experience in the rain, right? So let's start off, number one, as to our goal with this tiny house was to be able to become self-sufficient, independent. The housing market in 2011, wait, what year are we on? Sorry, 2020, 2021. The housing market has been nuts, and the cost of living has been insane. And I have already gotten to a point as to recognize the I guess hemming in and the constraints of the financial system and the inability to become financially independent through the way things are, and by electing to get a loan and a mortgage and stay in the financial system, locking you in with the promise of gains, right? So like, yes, it's an investment, but at the same time that like I've been taught a long time ago that the debtor is slave. Was it the person who gets a loan is slave to those who actually gives out the loan? So because of the housing market being the way it is, so we were really trying to do a tiny house, and on top of that, I wanted to be able to secure our food source, right? So in 2020, when the grocery stores were empty, it was just nuts. So my goal was, at least prior to the pandemic in 2020, I actually had thought about that quite a bit, about how the frailty of our food supply system and the supply network that we have is, despite what you are told by the federal government, it is a frail system. And part of it is because of our utilization of monocrops, where an entire field is just of one crop. As the climate changes, it will become more and more difficult to maintain genetically one species of a single crop. And so it already has a challenge of the tremendous amount of pests and the amount of input that's required to maintain a lot of the farms that feed either us or the cattle. It is a tremendous amount of input that relies on a system that is very, very spread thin. And so, and I knew that, and that was part of the motivation for me to try to focus on self-sufficiency, which is a very environmentally friendly way to live. And so with that random, I don't know, let me show you, let me give you a tour. All right, here we go. All right, so it has, all right, so it's calmed down now. So if you don't like the weather in Texas, just wait 10 minutes. Literally, it was just like raining cats and dogs, and now it's stopped raining. So if you don't like the weather in Texas, just wait, just wait 10 minutes, right? So let me show you. Oh. All right. So what we got over here, that's a little bit raining here. So here's the garden over here, right? So it looks like a jungle, but I will explain. So this is an organic farm. I hope it's an organic farm that I don't put any chemicals in there at all, right? So I take my food waste and the things that people throw away in the trash, like banana peels, apple cores, those degrade and rot into fertilizer. In addition to that, I have rabbits that provide me manure that is also considered good nutrients. So let me show you kind of a tour. Okay, so obviously you guys know what this is. This is basil. I mean, this basil has gotten crazy. It has definitely been such a rich flavor. So this type of basil has already gotten to seed, because it's already gotten hot seeds, those little flowers, and so they won't taste very good. But this basil here has not gone to seed. The flavor is still good, and all I do is I just pinch off some. I just take it and I just put it in whatever food that I have. So over here, I guess let me give you a little bit of understanding. It's kind of hard to see. So basically I do row gardening. So I have a row of any kind of vegetables on this side. This is herbs, and then also tomato plants. So this is a row of that. And if you notice, I don't have necessarily just one row of one thing. So, and then over here is the walkway. So these are, so I experimented with my watermelon. Obviously it grows big and it's already taken over the walkway. So one of the, one of the key characteristics of organic farming is very in competition with our Western obsession with order. You know, so I mean, you got, this is like, this is a little kid play set, but like over here, like in the grass, I mean, that to me is just ugly because it's non-productive. But like for most Americans, like it's like, oh look, it's orderly, it's clean, it's nice, and put, you know, and so like that's what we want. But nature is not like that. In fact, the most productive forms of nature that actually produce food for all sorts of species of animals are very chaotic. And so you don't want to have a very orderly type of system where there's only one thing. What, Josiah? Here's my kid. Where are you at? What, you looking for mommy? Where are you? I can't find you. Oh, there he is. Looking for mommy? She's probably inside. You wanna come with me? You wanna come with me? What? What do you wanna do? Here, come here. You wanna talk to the people? Let's talk to the people. You wanna talk to them? No. Why? So, and speaking of orderly, this toddler is not orderly at all. He's full of chaos and full of life, right? So like, you gotta understand there's philosophy. There's gonna be some philosophy when you start doing some homesteading and trying to be self-sufficient. If you do it the right way, work with nature and not against nature, that like there is, with full of life and abundance of life, there's a lot of chaos. And some people don't like it, right? So, but like, you know, if you, this here, it's going to feed you. We'll talk about like weeds and whatnot, but let me show you an example of one thing that you're gonna have to learn to adopt to if you really want to be able to become self-sufficient is gonna be obtaining seeds, okay? So like, you're not gonna, if you're truly self-sufficient, you're not gonna go to the store, you know, you're not gonna go to the store to be able to like buy seeds or go online. You have the luxury to do that now, but that's not truly self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency means obtaining your own seeds. And in order to allow for the seeds to harvest, you're gonna have to let it look ugly and dry. Okay, let me show you an example. All right, so over here, these are our seed plants, right? Do they look nice to you? No, they look ugly. They look so ugly, and they got dry leaves, and look at all this. I mean, it's like, oh, disgusting, right? But the thing is though, here, let me see if I can do this with holding a kid. All right, so let's see here. Whoa. All right, come here. So there's like seeds in there, right? So this one is a bad example because it hasn't fully dried. I mean, they're there, but let's see if there's another. Well, I'll show you an example here of a flower, right? So we got some dead flowers. And, oh, Josiah, you're making this video so hard. Y'all need to give me props for doing this with kids. All right, you sit right here. You sit right here. All right, so whenever y'all see, okay, so y'all see you can't just grow food. You really need to be able to grow flowers as well. So here's an example, right? So let me see here. So this guy here are flower seeds. The whole plant, it looks like it's dead, it's ugly. But like when you pull off the seeds, right? So these little seeds, right? You can kind of see that there, but those little seeds actually, when they drop, will actually produce flowers again in the spring. If you cut that down as it looks ugly because you want to manicure your little garden, you're gonna like actually you're not gonna have the ability to produce flowers for the next year. You're gonna have to order seeds every single year. You're gonna have to let things look kind of a little crazy. But the thing is though is that there's order, and there's a mixture of order, and also there's a mixture of craziness. So let's keep going. Oh, okay, Chunk. All right, so now I'll probably show y'all how to start a garden from scratch. And we've had tomatoes this year. We've had carrots like you wouldn't believe. I mean, this thing back here, it was neglected. It was so neglected. The prior renters just let the weeds grow. And when you have something like that, I'll show you what to do, because you really don't want to spray Roundup to get something prepared for gardening. You're going to be eaten out of that place. You do not want to be spraying chemicals. So let's see here. This is a little thing for our kids, so they've decided to go crazy with it. And you know, it actually produced. I mean, they got carrots and tomatoes and they had sunflower seeds. All right, so behind me over here, this is where we put our food waste. It's absolutely ridiculous to use synthetic fertilizer that you get from Lowe's, Home Depot. You do not want to do that, right? Because part of the reason is that, like, I mean, those things are likely harmful and not good for you at all, right? The whole purpose of having a garden yourself or homesteading is that you would have food that it's actually healthy. If you wanted to eat like synthetically sprayed foods, just go to the grocery store, right? You get plenty of that. There's no need to have a garden. But all of our food waste goes in there, right? And so, and then you also have so I have rabbits as well, and so I collect their manure, and then they go into there as well. So do you want to see? All right. So speaking of, like, you know, really wanting things nice and clean, and like, I mean, there's like, it's maintained, right? It's contained, but the whole process of composting, it's not pretty. Like, there are parts of nature that are not pretty. The decomposition of life after it has died is not pretty, right? So I just take food scraps, I take banana peels and all that stuff. Let's see here. You know, and so, let's see, do y'all want to see here? Oh my goodness, that's disgusting. That is so gross. Flies and all that. Well, you know what? Like, I mean, can I tell you that, like, flies are actually, you should be grateful for flies. I mean, like, were it not for flies, then there wouldn't be any way to decompose rotting stuff, rotting animals, sadly. But that actually is part of the natural process. And so, and because, you know, so long as that it's not like in our house, you know, look at our house, like it's way out there, right? It's way over there. I try to find a point the furthest away from the compost as possible, so that we just won't be annoyed by the pests, right? So they're over here in the corner. And, you know, like, you just got to get over, like, this, how things should be, tidy, clean. And I show you kind of like the, you know, so over here, right, so it's actually almost like done, right? So over here, where is it? Over here. So we got some manure and food waste, and it's starting to look pretty good, right? So it's almost ready to be put into the compost. I'm sorry, into the garden. And so once it's done, right, you let it sit there. So people can ask, well, how long does it take? Probably about, I don't know, 3 to 6 months, depending on the temperature outside. Then you put it out. You actually, before you start, you don't want to top dress your compost, right, onto an existing garden. Like, I wouldn't just like throw it on to the top. I mean, that's not what I would do. So, like, I have compost ready, so that when I start the new season, like the fall's coming up, then as the fall season's about to start, all this stuff is gonna it's gonna die, and I'll take it to put in the compost. But the tomatoes will die, the corn will die, everything will die with the onset of when it starts getting cold. So at that point, when it's starting to put in your fall crops. At that point, that's when you actually take your compost and you mix it into the soil, and about like you take an inch of compost and you actually take a fork and you actually like, I mean, I don't want to say dig it in, but like you mix it in with a fork to where it's about 6 inches spread deep in there. And then you go ahead and put your new crops. I don't top dress at all. The only top dressing I do is really with mulch, right? So I take like some hardwood mulch, and then that's what I do for like top dressing. So let me cover this bad boy up because, you know, I don't want the kids playing in there. Speaking of kids, all right, so you gotta lock this baby up because, you know, this kid gets into everything. All right, here's a little tip about gardening and self-sustaining with kids. Hey, do you get into stuff? Huh? Do you make a mess? No. You don't make a mess? No. Do you take the tomatoes when they're green and then do you throw them at brother and sister? No. You don't do that? No. Then what happened? Where did all the tomatoes go? So over here are tomato plants. I have some. So there's some flowers, zinnia flowers are growing underneath to make it not look so bad. But like, so they're about done for the season. They're not really producing whole ton of tomatoes. But part of having a garden with kids is that you kind of have to be cool with them messing up your garden. I mean, I think like half of my corn plants were knocked down by this guy. Did you knock down my corn plants? No. Yeah, you did. He knocked down half of my corn plants. And I gotta be cool with that because somehow I think that by giving him freedom to destroy my garden, that somehow he like will find an interest in it. You're gonna do you like gardens? Yeah. Yeah, he likes gardens. And so like, you know, it's a matter of flexibility of saying like, you know what, you're gonna mess up my garden, that's fine. But as a consequence of it, I think that he's gonna enjoy gardening when he gets older. So, all right, so the last thing I got, so I got compost, got garden, and then I got me some rabbits. Where are the rabbits at? There they are. So so we started with 3 adult rabbits. I bred them and it resulted in 8. 8 babies, and so we sold 2 of them, so we got 6 left, and so they're down there. So the reason why they're all underneath some shade cloths is because, boy, it's hot in Texas and they don't do well in heat, and so I had to put some shade cloth on there. What are you gonna do with those rabbits? Well, I use their manure, but meat rabbits are meant to be eaten. Don't tell them that. And so I think like next week I'm gonna have to actually harvest them. But they're in there in the shade. Let me see if I can try to get, where are they? Oh, come here. Where are they? Oh, they're way over there. I don't know if you can see them. They're out in the shade. Let me come over around the other side because they're gonna be over there. Okay. Let's go this way. Let's see where. Oh, hi, little bud. What are you doing? Aren't they cute? Oh, yes, they're cute. So that's the part my kids like to part. They don't really help. My kids don't really help out with the garden. Well, hey, this guy does. The big kid does, right, Isaiah? Do you help out with the garden? Yeah. Yeah. So, but the little kids, Liliana and Josiah, they don't really like that part. But they sure do like the rabbit part. So it's, and they'll probably be ready, the adult rabbits will be probably ready to breed again when it's cooler. It's too hot for them to breed. They go infertile temporarily, and then during the fall when it cools off is when it's time to breed them, and so we'll have some extra babies for that. And but yeah, hey, hope you guys enjoyed this tour. We'll give you some more info, more details once a week. I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great day. Bye.